What's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to show you how to gap and change your spark plugs for your first gen 3.5 Ecoboost. It's probably very similar on the second gens as well. So first you're going to need spark plugs, of course. These are the NGKs, Iridiums, 6510. I recommend these or getting the Motorcraft ones. And what we got to do first is gap them. My truck is tuned by MPT and they recommend gapping it from 28 thousandths to 32 thousandths, I believe. So naturally I'm going to try to gap it to 30 thousandths. If you have a stock truck, you need to look up what Ford recommends. It's probably around 35 to 40, somewhere in there. So I recommend changing your plugs every 15 to 20,000 miles to keep it running as efficient as it can. But I know a lot of people go a lot longer, 50, 60,000 miles, and some people do it every oil change. So, you know, I try to change mine about every 15 to 20 if I can. So you're going to need a gapping tool. This costs $1 at Walmart. You can find them at, you know, your AutoZone, whatever there. There's a couple different ones. I like this one, and I use a pair of channel locks. And I'll show you how I do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. Some people just beat it on the ground, and I don't really recommend that. But you can see right here that it'll go up in thickness, and it'll show you right there in thousandths what it's representing there. So this, just slide it on there like that, and it's about 41 thousandths. And we're going to get it down to 30. So to do that, and it's going to take a little bit of trial and error here, but you don't ever want to damage that tip right in there, because that's the most important piece right there. So you're going to do something like this. Make sure you hook it on at the bottom and kind of hold it with your thumb in place, and then put the top right on the top of that spark plug, and just kind of squeeze a little bit. It's nice, you know, with leverage you can just kind of fine tune it. You'll get the hang of it real quick whenever you do several of them. So right now we went a little too far. We're at looks like 26 thousandths there. So what we're going to do is grab it from the back side like this and just carefully pry out a little bit. Check it again. So you know, you can see that it's very easy to go over or below where you want. So I'm back to 35 thousandths. So we'll bring it back down, and you know, it's just going to take a little trial and error. You don't want to do this too many times, but hopefully you can get it just right. You know, you can squeeze it just a little bit there and try it. We want to get as close to 30 thousandths. Looks like I'm about 31 or 32 right there. And I'll fine tune it and I'll get it down to 30 thousandths. You want them all the same. So you're going to do this to all 6 of your plugs, and then we'll move on to the install. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is pull our oil fill cap. Remove your engine cover. Just lift up a little hook in the back there, pull that out of the way. And some additional stuff you'll need for this task is a extendable magnet. If you don't have a spark plug socket, it's a 5/8 deep well socket. They make them with the O-ring inside that grabs the spark plug. I don't have one of those, so I just break it free and grab it with a little extendable magnet there. Let's put our oil fill cap back on so nothing gets inside there. And I will admit, I am changing it a little earlier than what I recommended. I had my first change, I used the auto lights, and I had one go bad on me. in about 10,000 miles, so that's why I'm swapping out to the NGKs. So some other stuff that are crucial to this task is some dielectric grease and some anti-seize lubricant. I'll show you where we're going to use those. Alright, so what we're going to want to do here is get your 8mm socket. You got one bolt here holding these in. So once you loosen it up, just undo that right there. There it is. Store that somewhere. You got a little red tab right here that you need to slide back, and then you can push down on the top right here, pull that off, and then unseat this coil pack right here. This is the Excel right here. I'm going to be swapping out back to my OEMs because I've already had one of these go bad on me. I'm just going to put my OEMs back in and then use these as backups. They really shouldn't go bad for 100,000 miles or so. Hard to believe one went bad on me already. Next, I recommend getting yourself a couple extensions. Here's our 5/8 deep well. I'm just going to drop that down in the hole there. You might need a shorty extension on some. We're going to pop that in there. Gonna break this free. Back it the rest of the way out with your hand. So you feel it on thread completely. Stick our little magnet down in the hole. Grab that spark plug. Like I said, these only had about 10,000 or so on them before one went bad, so I'm just going to go ahead and swap these out for some NGKs, and hopefully those will last me my 15 or 20,000 miles before I change them again. So we got our new NGK right here. What you're going to want to do is just put a little bit of anti-seize on it, just like that. You're not going to want to get it close to that. About right there, about that much, and it'll spread around whenever you thread it in. We're going to go ahead and grease side up. Drop that down the hole. Throw our socket back in there. And then go ahead and start threading it in by hand. And then we'll snug it up with the wrench. This is a really good do-it-yourselfer project. Instead of spending, or I should say wasting the money at the dealership. Alright, so once we've got that hand tight, we're going to throw our wrench back on. And just get it snug. Next, we're going to put the coil back on. We got our dielectric grease here, and what we're going to do is just squirt some into the end right there. Pop this guy back on. Got our bolt right here. Push that down and thread this back on. Need the extension on that one. Just make sure it's tightened down. Good and snug. And all you're going to do is plug this back in, push that red tab back in, and you're good. Repeat the process 5 more times and you're done with this tune-up. Like I said, you know, I know the dealership will probably charge you a good $100 or more to do this, and it costs about $60 for the spark plugs themselves. So hopefully this video is helpful where you guys can do it yourself and not waste the money at the dealership. If you guys got any more questions, let me know. Thanks.